Government housing grants have been brought forward. Let's have a look. Well, I mean, can any of us be surprised, guys? Can any of us be surprised? Housing is the most important thing in the Australian economy and something everyone is interested in and discusses 24/7. We've got reality TV shows about it. Why, the dream of every Australian is to work at Macca's, live at their parents' house for a couple of years, and then start building up a property portfolio, then going on a book-selling, course-selling circuit tour around the country. And the government has your back, guys. They've got your back. They're going to support you 100%. Screw innovation. Screw economic complexity. It's housing, housing, housing. I can't even laugh anymore, guys. Well, I can. But let's have a look at this article from the Epoch Times discussing, well, something that isn't surprising. The Australian government brings forward regional housing scheme for first home buyers. Rather than addressing supply issues, well, they're bringing forward these grant schemes. Although we have another article looking at where land supply in Perth is increasing, so that's fantastic. There's some good news there. But again, it's the same old thing, juicing up demand. That's what they love doing here in Australia, guys. And I'm gonna bring up my good old-fashioned chart here showing you how the government juiced up the market. We've got the cash rate, which has been insanely low. Still is low. Okay, it still is low. We're over 2% now, I think 2.35. It's still low. You've got home builder, juiced up the market significantly. You've got grants. We've got now also 5 and 2% government loans. 2%. That's all you need for a deposit to get a house. You've got negative gearing, which is part of our culture. Labor lost an election trying to get negative gearing removed. I don't think anyone could win trying to get rid of negative gearing. Then you've got the super withdrawals, which the super funds argued that people were wasting the money on boob jobs and gambling. No, they were paying down debt or using it for deposits to get into homes. And honestly, I don't blame people. Not at all, because if you are retired and you own your own home, you're going to be in a much better position than if you don't, regardless of how much super you get. So let's have a look at this, guys, because this is just the modus operandi. We've gone from a Liberal coalition government to a Labor government now at a federal level, and it's still all about housing, guys. That's why I keep saying there's very little difference between the two majors. It's just how much woke or what flavor of woke you want with your housing supportive policies. So, regional Australians having difficulty getting into the housing market may be able to access a new federal government grant from October 1. In July, the Labor government introduced the Regional First Home Buyer Guarantee Scheme as an expansion of the Home Guarantee Scheme in an effort to boost home ownership in the country. The scheme was initially scheduled to come into effect in January 2023. However, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the government would start it 3 months earlier. There you go. You've got to keep the housing supported. Well, it's such a big part of our economy. It really is. And so many people's wealth and identity and success is tied up in housing. So how does the scheme work? Under the scheme, the federal government will provide a guarantee of up to 15% for regional first home buyers so that people with only a 5% deposit do not have to pay mortgage insurance when purchasing a home. So there you go. The government is taking on the risk for this. Those who want to apply for the scheme must be Australian citizens who are going to buy a property outside a capital city and have been living in the region where the property is located for at least 12 months. In addition, they have to ensure that their income and the price of the property does not exceed the caps of the First Home Guarantee Scheme administered by the National Housing Finance and Investment Corporation. All of this government bureaucracy and money shifting and everything. Every one of these things is costing us money. All of it is. The RFHBG, here we go. The fact that the banks need to have this insurance as well. The RFHBG scheme will provide help to 10,000 Australians living in regional areas each year and is expected to cost taxpayers $12.1 million at the end of the 24-25 financial year. So we're only talking 10,000 people. So it's kind of tokenistic, everyone. If we look at, can I overlay this chart? we look at the chart there in the bottom, you can see that's what, a month of building approvals. So it's not that much, but it still is. The problem is it sets a precedent. It sets an expectation that the government should be meddling in this business. And there's no difference between the two major parties. If you want to vote for someone that isn't going to meddle in the housing market, who can you vote for? You vote for Labour, you vote for Liberal, you get the same stuff. You vote for National, you get the same stuff. That's why I'm hoping there'd be a conservative alternative with sensible policies, or the Libertarians make a bit more of a showing. But I can't see the average Australian punter doing that. People want this. You know, they want their housing to be expensive. They may pretend that they care about housing affordability, but it's bullshit, guys. It really is. They don't give a crap. They like having their wealthy houses, feeling like they've made a brilliant investment decision, buying a house, doing nothing, and reaping all this gain. This is why we've got push for environmental energy efficiency changes in the building code that's becoming more onerous every year. And all of these things may seem good, they may sound good, but they add costs to construction that make housing more expensive. Now we've got the livability housing requirements coming into the NCC. Sounds good, makes everyone feel good. It's a great soundbite, but it increases the costs. All of these things increase costs. So people don't really give a shit about housing affordability in Australia. It's all just tokenistic rubbish. They want their expensive houses. They're happy to burden debt onto future generations with schemes like this as well. This is part of our ambitious housing agenda to support more people to purchase their own home, as well as investing in social and affordable housing. Meanwhile, the Housing Minister, Julie Collins, said some of the most significant drops in housing affordability had impacted regional Australians, making it difficult for them to come up with a sufficient deposit. Well, regional Australia has gone nuts because people, during the lockdowns, many of them made a green change. My understanding is that some are regretting that decision. But the question is, okay, why are these regions making it so difficult for people to build houses? How many of them make it a pain in the ass to put two houses on a block or to put another property out there? We've just had legislation change in Queensland that you can actually rent out a granny flat. Okay, so we've got all of these planning restrictions that are also impacting housing. And you've got councils and regional areas. They want to keep the feel and aesthetic of their town. So they're going to price out, eventually, they're going to price out their own people that are working there and earning there. The guarantee will help aspiring first-home buyers living in regional Australia realise home ownership sooner by overcoming the deposit hurdle, she said. And I mean, that's right. That is the big issue here. At least, well, it's probably going to be worse. Repayments are going to be tougher now with rates going up, but the deposit is really the big hurdle, particularly in the regional areas which have rents that are going insane. The news comes after regional housing markets across Australia saw a steeper drop in August compared to previous months, with housing values falling by 1.5%. Well, it might get a bit more affordable. The most significant falls occurred in commutable areas, booming during the COVID-19 pandemic, such as Southern Heights, Shoalhaven in New South Wales, and the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. Sunny is not commutable. I guess. I mean, that's like saying the Gold Coast is commutable. It probably is. It's a shit commute. I did it back in my uni days. It was a nightmare. I got to the point where I was commuting from the Gold Coast. I was living with my parents and working in Brisbane. I got to the point where I had a job and I negotiated a later start because if you keep trying to get on the highway earlier and earlier and earlier, you just hit all the tradies. So if I were to start at 9:30, I'd miss all the traffic, or 10 o'clock, and then just go home an hour late. I'd miss the traffic going down as well. While housing markets in regional areas still perform better than their urban counterparts, they were subject to the industry's downward trend, which experts predict to continue until 2023. So there we go, everyone. So let's have a talk about this. So once again, it's just about housing, isn't it? Both sides of politics are the same. This is the Australian way. Will there be a shift? Is there enough? I don't really know. I mean, what options are Liberals going to put forward that are any different at the next election? There's going to be continued push for more government intervention in the housing market. It's just going to continue to exacerbate the issues in the sector. So people clamoring for correction, people predicting a huge crash that's going to occur. I think there's more chance of significant government intervention to mitigate that. And to hell with future generations. What do you reckon, guys? Let me know your thoughts on that one in the comments. Because the RBA's prediction of a 30% correction with interest rates going up, is that going to be occurring when maybe demand suddenly increases because you significantly increase immigration? You make it easier for student visas. Or maybe, you allow even more builders to trade while insolvent. Oh, I hope not. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. What do you reckon? As always, thanks for watching. Check out my other channels, HeiseBim and HeiseSays International, for other content I discuss. And if you want to support us, there are a few ways you can. Financially on YouTube or Patreon, using our referral links, buying our merch, or calling us if you need an architect. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.